Welcome to the Frisco podcast. I'm your host, Scott Ellis, and this episode we're chatting again with Charlie Wendell from Melody of Hope. Charlie, how are you?
Hey, Scott, I'm doing great. Thank you all so much for having me.
Glad to have you back on the podcast, and we're going to talk about some of the changes to what's happening with Melody of Hope and your events and what's been happening around town. But where do we find you right now? Are you working from home, or are you able to get out and about a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's both, but even before COVID, I worked out of my office, and I joke that that's how Melody of Hope is able to provide so much more funding towards our events and nonprofits, is because I don't have an office rent and I work from home. So it's been great. I've definitely been out and about. A lot of our networking groups have still been meeting, and I've been meeting a lot of people on Zoom as well. So it's been kind of a hybrid for us over here.
Well, very good. We're glad to hear you're staying safe and doing well. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up this year, because the last time you and I actually had a chance to speak was almost a year ago at your big gala last year. Hard to believe it's already been that long. But you guys are making some changes to how you operate and how you do things. So why don't you kind of walk us through what's going on there?
We are. Yeah. It's crazy how fast a year goes by. I mean, I remember we recorded the podcast probably a year ago to date, and then the gala was about 10 months, 11 months ago. So yeah, we've been making a lot of changes. Our board decided even before all the COVID stuff happened that we wanted to kind of shift away from a gala. The gala has been a really sweet spot for us and just a great event, but we, it cost us about 30 to 40 grand to put the gala on. And, while that's on the cheaper side, we just thought maybe that money could be used towards maybe hiring a big headliner or a big talent to come in and maybe do a music festival. And so we were already thinking about this idea of transitioning from a gala to a music festival as our big, our signature event, and just to help, I think that would help bring tourism and, bring people from all over the North Texas area to come into our city and to help that. So yeah, we've been transitioning to a music festival before COVID.
Okay. Well, certainly for anybody that's ever put on an event like the gala that you guys were doing knows how much work and how expensive those can be. So I commend you guys for that decision. And it's funny because I remember several years ago when Wendy and I were here in Frisco, there weren't really any events happening, or very few, where you would kind of get dressed up and go out and go to, a nice event like that. And now it seems like there's a lot of them happening, especially around this time of year. So it's interesting to hear how you guys are differentiating yourselves.
Yeah, it was also interesting because, the 90-10 rule, there's like 10% of people that do 90% or go to 90% of events. And so we felt like we were maybe pulling from the same, group of people. And, that's expensive if you're one of those, 10% that goes to everything. That gets kind of expensive to go to galas. And, while it's helping good causes, we just thought maybe we'll just bring the community together and have cheaper tickets, but, still have a really big event. And so that's kind of another reason we decided to switch to the festival.
Yeah. And the music festival is a neat idea too, because it's not really something we have in Frisco. There've been a couple of big, Edge Fest and things that have come through town, but nothing that's local and focused on what you guys do.
Sure. Yeah, we had noticed that too. We did a little bit of market research, but also we were wanting to do kind of an upscale component to our festivals. And so, Lifestyle Frisco, y'all have been such a great sponsor. We want to do something for our sponsors and our VIPs at our festivals. And so we'll still be having kind of an upscale VIP lounge. This year, obviously, will look a little different because of COVID, but there's definitely a more upscale kind of niche in our festival for our VIPs and sponsors. So we're excited about that too.
Okay. Well, excited. Can you tell us at all, and if you want to keep it secret for now, that's fine, but can you tell us about any of the artists or like what we would have to look forward to at this year's festival?
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. So when we first decided to put this on, we just reached out to all of our artists. We've got we've really built our artist database during COVID. We kind of just blindly reached out to a bunch of artists in North Texas, and we're like, hey, we have a lot of virtual shows, and we've probably added about 40 artists to our roster during COVID. So that's been another silver lining to COVID. But this year we've got 19 artists that will be performing at the festival. And we just hired and booked our headliner for the event, and her name is Abby Anderson. She is out of Nashville, but it's kind of a funny story. She's opened up for, gosh, like Billy Currington, Brett Eldridge, actually Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20, which is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, I love Rob Thomas.
Oh my gosh, I love Matchbox 20. They're so great. But yeah, she's kind of up and coming, but she's done, she was on the Buffalo Bills. She did a song for the Buffalo Bills team last year. And so she's up and coming, but she performed at our very first gala in 2014. And she was like 14 years old, and it's just been really cool to kind of see her, grow into her own and really take the music industry by storm the last year. She's been doing great.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. So she'll be headlining. We're going to be blasting a lot of her videos in the next week or so. So y'all be on the lookout. But we've also got Ron Boltongues. He's kind of the hometown hero of Plano and Frisco area. He was on American Idol and top 24 finalist. And he's just great. He's played for us a couple of times. And then Grace Tyler, who also, she's a Frisco, kind of Frisco country queen. So we've got a bunch of artists. I can, naming all 19, I can, but those are kind of like the three big hitters of our event.
Well, good. Glad to hear that. And it's funny, I was about to ask you about Grace Tyler. We've had her on the podcast before and done some interviews with her in the past. And she's a fantastic young talent. And, she graduated high school, I think, a couple of years ago. And I think she went to Nashville.
Yeah, she's in Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah, but glad she'll be back for this event. So in the context of COVID and all that entails, how is the event going to look this year? How will it kind of fall together so that people are being safe and everything's, people are comfortable coming out?
Sure. Yeah, so the biggest thing that we are doing to make sure people are being COVID compliant is it's a drive-in music festival. And so we have got at Verona Villa. So I don't know how many details you guys know. I guess the listeners don't know too many details. But yeah, we are doing it at Verona Villa this year in the parking lot. And everyone has a designated tailgate space that is, has 6-foot buffers. And so you'll have, a parking spot and then a tailgate space. And then, so that's your 6-foot buffer. And so that's how we're kind of making sure everyone is staying safe. And then if you have a truck, bring your truck and tailgate, like physically tailgate in the back of it in your little 6-foot buffer space. So that'll be fun. We've seen it done before. One of our volunteers, she works for a kind of independent radio station, and they did this, and it was a really big success. And so we saw it and we were like, man, we really need to do that. We have to do something for our community. It's just trying to help boost the morale of the community and just bring people together in a safe way. And that's really the heart of what we're trying to do is, music is such a great unifier. And, I think politics aside, it'll be right after the election. So I think people will be happy and sad. So I think this is a great opportunity to just bring people together and enjoy some good music and kind of forget about what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I think, first of all, what is the date so people know?
Yes, it is November the 6th.
Okay, so right after the election.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that people, yes, everybody's going to welcome a distraction of any kind once that is, we may not necessarily know the outcome yet, but I'm sure people will be ready to move on and think about other things. So that's great timing.
Yes. And also just touching on the COVID compliancy, we've also got contactless entry. So, you buy a ticket and then you just show your ticket to the at the check-in table when you drive in. And so it's contactless. We've got sanitation stations. We'll be providing masks for everyone. And so that's a few other ways that we're keeping it COVID safe.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I think it sounds like a great event. And how long, you've got 19 artists. How long is the event going to be?
Yeah, so we just kind of redid the schedule. So Ashley Miller and Corey Holmes they're both board members. They're emceeing the event. We just kind of redid the schedule with them. We're going to be doing kind of groups of artists. So it's called a song swap. And so the first 12 to 16 artists will be coming on in groups of 4, and they will be kind of song swapping and kind of just, bantering off of each other. And so the first four acts will be groups, and then the last four will be, the big hitters, the artists that have actual bands with them. A lot of these artists are just solo artists, plug and play. So we're doing groups of artists first, and then the last four artists are solo artists that are, with their band or whatever.
Okay. And I want to make sure that we plug this a couple of times, but if people want to get tickets, where do they go?
Yeah. So we've built a website. Actually, during COVID, Google has been amazing because I just Google. I think that's part of being a business owner. You just Google a lot of things. But we just Googled how to create a festival website and what a lot of them look like. So we made one for the event. It's just melodyofhope.org/musicfest. And so that has all the information. It has all the COVID compliancy information, the artists, we'll have a couple food trucks there. Because people have to eat, even though, we can still make it COVID compliant and safe, but we'll have food trucks there. We'll have a silent auction that's live. We will also be broadcasting the event too. So we just hired a company to come in and broadcast the entire thing. So if you can't attend, then you can still tune in. It's a free live stream. You can still tune in and watch that as well.
All right. Very good. So we have, the festival coming up on November 6th. And obviously you guys have kind of changed the format and what you're doing as Melody of Hope. But we talked a little before we kicked off the call about, businesses and helping local businesses as well, and the unique position you guys are in to help nonprofits and artists, but potentially also businesses. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys have going on there?
Yeah, absolutely. We have been in kind of a unique space because, like I had mentioned, music is so easily transferred to the virtual world. And we've had a couple of our sponsors and donors that own businesses reach out and, because they're not going out and networking as much or even doing events, a lot of them reached out to us asking if we could possibly provide an artist just for their Facebook page to go live on. And so, you have an artist on a page for an hour that really helps to boost engagement. And that will help the business can get on intermittently and, talk about what they do. But we've had a lot of people ask about, how can we boost our brand and boost our, Facebook viewers with an artist. And so we've been able to provide that. Lori McCagran, she's kind of the first one that kind of jumped on the idea. And we've had like Stryker Roofing, Josh Smith, insurance agent. So a few people that have utilized those artists so far. And so if you're a business out there, we would love to help provide an artist if you need some engagement for your live or just someone to, boost your brand.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I've worked with some businesses that have, they do kind of all hands, all company meetings. And right now they're doing them virtually, and they'll actually have an artist come on at some point during the all hands meeting, usually toward the beginning, just to kind of make it fun and kick things off. And it's been hugely successful for them, and employees love it. So I think there's a lot of different ways to make that work.
Yeah, absolutely. We've done that as well. Tabitha's Tea is one of the nonprofits that we partner with. Actually, Ebony was on Wendy. I interviewed Ebony yesterday. So she came to my mind first. But yeah, we've provided, we've still been able to provide artists for nonprofit events too that have switched to the virtual world. And so, it's been a great opportunity for us, and just trying to help still employ the artists, and the nonprofits are still fundraising. I mean, they're still helping. There's still needs in the community that, have to be met, even though COVID, has kind of taken over, but we've been helping that way too.
How is Melody of Hope doing overall?
We've been doing great. Like I had mentioned, we added 3 new board members, which has been incredible for us. We added Ebony King, Ernest Morgan, and Jeff Bankston to our board this year. And it's just been a time of growth for us. We can do that all virtually, send in the applications and, have board meetings virtually. So we've been kind of growing in that way as well. And, it's just a really great opportunity for us. We exist to share the gospel, and we do that from the stage. And so having a strong virtual component from COVID has really helped us to just share the love of Jesus. We try to do that any chance we get, and that's been great for us to be able to do that on a larger scale. We have more virtual viewers than in-person events. And so, that's really why we exist. And that's, why we're doing what we do.
Well, thank you for doing what you do. We appreciate it immensely. And I know that a lot of people in Frisco are going to be looking forward to coming out to the festival, to hearing some live music, which is something a lot of us haven't had a chance to do in a while, to forgetting about politics for a few hours at least.
Yes.
So by all means, I think what you guys are doing is fantastic and we're grateful for it. So once again, let's kind of give everybody the rundown on the festival, date, location to get tickets, all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the festival is on November the 6th. And so that's 4 weeks from today. It's on a Friday. The time, it starts at 5:00 and it will last till probably about 10:30. And you can get your car passes on our website at www.melodyofhope.org/musicfest. And then we are doing a free live stream. And so if you can't attend, if you don't feel good about, socially distancing or COVID and you don't want to attend, then you can still watch the show it'll be streaming on YouTube and Facebook, and portions of it on Instagram.
Awesome. And can people donate to Melody of Hope through your website?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. That's just melodyofhope.org and there's a donate button on our page.
Okay. Good to know. So if people, maybe if they don't want to come or they'd rather stay home and watch the live stream, but they still want to help out, they still want to contribute, that's a great way to do that. So definitely head out to melodyofhope.org and look for that donate button. Charlie, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it and everything you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Scott. And I just have to say, thank you all so much. Y'all are, Lifestyle Frisco is the generous stage sponsor this year, and that's been such a great help. And so I cannot say thank you enough to y'all and the partnership. We really have enjoyed that, and we're so humbled and grateful for you guys.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning into the Frisco podcast. Again, go out to melodyofhope.org. Look forward to the music festival on November 6th. And we look forward to, hopefully before too much longer, being able to get out and see you around town. Thank you very much.